welcome back to another edition of the Washington Nationals here on OOTP 27. As you can see, the postseason has come to an end. The Baltimore Orioles are your 2029 World Series champions, winning 4-1 over the Los Angeles Dodgers, who came over out of the National League over us, and then the Orioles took out the Rangers in 7 games in the LCS, and then take out the Dodgers in 5 games to win the whole shebang. A channel classic, Gunnar Henderson, still on this team. Definitely do not look up his high school or Connor Griffin's. I mean, a lot of familiar names still on this team. Jackson Holliday, Pete Alonso's here, obviously. Kobe Mayo. Blaze Alexander was playing for them. Colvin Cowser's on this team. Nate George has been their Gold Glove center fielder. Or I guess he just came up as their... No, he's been here for 2 years. 2 years as like their Gold Glove center fielder. And then in their pitching side of things, some new names here, but a lot of familiar ones as well. Kyle Bradish, Cade Povich, Shane Baz is still around. They have Freddie Peralta on this team, but he was not good for them whatsoever this season. Their bullpen has some decent guys in it. We sort by innings here. DL Hall back on this team. Juan Mejia was a good reliever for them. Jose Ferrer is a lefty. Emilio Pagan's on this roster. Keaton Wynn. Trey Gibson is around on this team. Luis Garcia, the toe tap man. Brusdar Graterol is on this team as like a bench sort of depth guy. It looks like he got hurt as tore his rotator cuff beginning of the season, so barely even played for them. And Felix Bautista is still kicking around as he was reacquired. Yeah, so I guess they traded him to Boston in 2027. Let's look at the history here. Traded to Boston in 2026 offseason. Played in 2027 for Boston. And then he ended up signing a 3-year deal with Minnesota. And then he was traded back to the Orioles for a couple prospects and some money here at the deadline. And now wins a World Series back with Baltimore here in 2029. Alrighty, folks, so the big thing with this offseason is going to be how are we going to open up some money? Because right now, our money situation is not looking great. Now, you may be looking at this and being like, okay, you'd be able to get to the offseason here, just not really spending anything and kind of just coasting with the roster that you have right now. But even that's not really true, because this little amount of money available, even with our player development budget way down to $10 million, our draft budget lower than we would like it, our scouting budget lower than we would like it. So, not the most ideal situation we're in right now. So there's probably going to be some trades swung this offseason. We picked up Spencer Torkelson in the last offseason, mainly because I just kind of figured, we needed another bat. I didn't think Jerry Harris was going to be quite ready, but now it's starting to look like Jerry Harris might actually be ready, and now he's kind of blocked because we've got Spencer Torkelson signed for this 4-year deal. But I do think Spencer Torkelson is more useful than a guy like Cody Bellinger, who still has 2 more years of team control, plus a 3rd year of a team option. I guess I shouldn't say team control. Under contract is what I should say. Team control is like what you would say when he's in arbitration. And Bellinger is still a really good player. He's coming off another 2.5-win season for us. He's been quite steady. But at the same time, it's also like, if you look at where we could open up spots, if we just take a look at a rough idea of what it could look like if we add Jerry Harris into the team, really it would just sort of be James Wood moves to left field. We move Dylan Cruz to right field. We would kind of take a hit on the outfield defense, but it's also like we weren't having the best outfield defense anyways. Like, we've already had Mike Sirota playing center field, who has proven he can hold his own defensively. He put together a 4 ZR season for us in center field this year, so we're totally fine with him playing center field. He's cool there. We can deal with that. And then Dylan Cruz, he was hurt a ton this year, put up a 1 ZR. I feel like he could put up together a decent season in right field even if he is a bit better of a left fielder. I think he could be fine in right field. But then, like, Bellinger, it's not like he's... I mean, we could just see him on this page. What am I even doing? It's not like he's been a great fielder this year. He was a negative ZR player in right field. So we had some bad defense in right field this year. I feel like Cruz would even be an upgrade there, and we would just kind of have, like, Cruz still be a decent corner outfielder, Sirota hold his own in center, and then we move James Wood to left field, opens up that DH spot, And Jerry Harris slots in there as kind of like the American Ohtani, DHs, pitches when he's also DHing. Because the thing about Jerry Harris is technically he could play like second base for us, but I don't want him to be pitching and playing second base. Also, we have Angel Feliz playing every day second base for us at this point, and obviously that guy has earned the spot. So we don't really have second base as an opening anyways, even if I was going to go crazy and do that. And you look at Harris's ratings right now, they don't look like they're major league ready on hitting and on pitching. But I mean, you look at the guy's numbers, he tore up both AAA and AA in his time at the plate, and then he did the same thing in AAA and AA in the pitching side of things. Very, very good arm. You look at his percentile rankings here, as I accidentally back at his percentile rankings here for AAA. Good stuff, pretty much across the board here. A couple things that were a bit suspect, but whatever. And then in AA for his arms, once again, still very good. And then if you look at the hitting side of things, lots of blue and teal on this list as well for AAA. And then for AA, it was weirdly worse, but this is base running and fielding. But yeah, not as good in AA, but also still some teal. But I mean, yeah, the guy has been hitting. He's been pitching well. He wants to play in the major leagues. He's probably going to improve a bit over the offseason. We're definitely going to be throwing him in the lab for something here over the offseason. And I feel like it's just smart to play him in the big leagues this season. And I think just the most obvious guy to try to move on from would be Cody Bellinger. If we can somehow maybe retain a little bit of money and get rid of him. Never mind, I forgot that he has a no-trade clause. He has a no-trade clause. All of that was completely moot. All of that completely useless. It's just me rambling at nothing because Cody Bellinger has a no-trade clause. So Dylan Cruz is like the possible trade option. We could do that. I mean, he did just come out of this season with this, I mean, absolute injury from hell where he broke his arm, then he had bone marrow edema, then sprained ankle, then recurring back spasms, then a broken foot, and just missed a ton of time this season. Was obviously very, very good when he did play. Even in the postseason, was quite good with a 160 WRC plus and 30 plate appearances. Obviously, it's a small sample size. It's the postseason, but I mean, he was really good just all around when he does play. And like, I don't want to trade him, but I mean, he might be the most obvious option here. Or maybe we just keep Jerry Harris in AAA again for a season until he really starts showing that, like, hey, he needs to come up here. And then he just kind of forces his way up there. But I mean, he might just start the year in AAA and we just kind of let him develop and see what happens until he just forces our hand. And then, like, if Bellinger's still on the team, he probably will be. Maybe we put him on the bench or something. But we do, for sure, need to find a way to open up some money around the team. And you would think that trading somebody like a Cody Bellinger would be the easiest way to do that. But, like I said, he has a no-trade clause. So that's not going to happen. I forgot that I gave that to him because I don't usually give that to people when I offer contracts. We have one more year of George Kirby at 18.8. We've got this Harry Ford deal locked in, James Wood deal locked in, Tanner Houck locked in for another season at 11.4. Probably leaning towards bringing him back. Corbin Burns we have at, I guess it's just $10 million. So yeah, I guess we're just paying him $10 million this season. So I don't know, maybe Corbin Burns is somebody we look to trade here this offseason just for whatever we can get for him. But we're definitely going to be trying to open up money. Like, Duvall's going to come off the books. I still like Connor Prelip, even though he had a bad season. Brady House. I mean, he finally had a good year. I don't want to trade him. I don't know. Maybe we trade high. Maybe we sell high on Brady House. We're like, hey, is he really going to repeat this? He put together 3 seasons where he couldn't really break through to this 3-win season, and then he finally does this year. Is he going to repeat that? The thing about it, though, he's also a very good defender at third base, and I guess that could be an option to where, like, Angel Feliz either plays second or third for us, and then, I don't know, Luis Hernandez here, who was a 5th-round pick for us in 2026, He was in Double-A for us this year, putting together some really, really good numbers. Maybe he plays third or second base for us this year. Can't currently play second, but he could definitely feasibly play there. He could learn it in the spring training. Maybe that's an option. Maybe Seaver King, but I don't really want to trade Brady House because, he did have a good season, but it could be an option. It could be an option that we could sell high on him because is it really likely that he's going to be this 3-win season, or is he probably just going to put another season like this? So I might look into that. I might look into possibly selling high on Brady House and then probably, biting the bullet on that and then getting screwed when he turns into just one of the best power hitters in the league for the next 3 seasons. He's also a high leader work ethic guy, which is another positive for him that you don't want to get rid of. Joey Estes, maybe he's somebody we might want to get off of his contract, even if it is very, very team-friendly. It's not even really expensive at all. But somebody like Carlos Narvaez, we could open up $3.8 million there by not bringing him back to be our catcher. We'd have to figure out what our backup catcher situation looks like because right now the third catcher is Sean Murphy, and he was on a minor league deal, so he's not currently signed through the next season. He's a free agent, and he would want the same amount of money as Narvaez, and he also wants to start, which he's obviously not going to do here with the Nationals. So we'll have to figure out the backup catcher situation if we trade away if we get rid of those guys. And then these other dudes, not really too much. Like Sawinski won't be back. Luke Little's hitting arbitration, hitting $3 million. Maybe we trade Luke Little and get some money back there. But I mean, it's only like a couple million. We've got ourselves some money problems here. Definitely some money problems here. Got a bit crazy with adding some money to this team. And we're in a bit of a tough situation at the moment. Alrighty, folks, we have gone ahead and added our 12 players to the player development lab. The first one being Jerry Hughes Harris. We are trying to improve his quality of contact when it comes to his offense. We haven't touched anything here for his pitching, but on the offensive side of things, you look at his potentials here, the BABIP is the only thing that really doesn't have a huge potential, but he does still have a 40 to 50, little bit of growing room there, so we're trying to hope that we can get a bit of a potential boost there and maybe turn his BABIP a bit higher into the green, and he just becomes an even better potential player for us. Then we added in Evan Hollick to try to improve his control. Pretty self-explanatory. Lots of growing to do here. We want to see if he can tap into this control to go with all of this good stuff as well, and we're seeing if we could do that. Then it's going to be Alex Rouse also trying to tap into his control for us. Thought about maybe doing a secondary pitch improvement again, but we're going control with him instead. Josh Starcher, who was a second-round pick for us in this previous 2029 draft, we are trying to improve his movement, because right now it's only 50 potential. If we could possibly get the potential bumped up to 55, that would be fantastic. And then there's Bobby Matamoros, who has really good stuff and movement, but if we could possibly get some control potential boost here, that would be fantastic. He was the 6th-round pick for us in 2029. And then Luis Hernandez, I mentioned he was in Double-A for us, a 5th-round pick in 2026, putting together a really good season between High A and Double-A this past year. And he's looking like he's actually kind of ready for the big leagues here at some point. Probably won't start the year in the big leagues, obviously, but if we could get some potential bumps here, we're trying to get his plate discipline up to possibly tap into more of the speed ability, get on base more, use that speed more often to go with a pretty average BABIP, gap power, and power. Looks like just like an average hitter with some slap potential right now. But if we could maybe get his eye up, turn him into like a leadoff sort of hitter, that could be interesting. And then we went for Travis Sikora in the increased pitch movement lab. He has still a bunch of potential to tap into there. We would like to see him to tap into that before the game just starts lying to us that he's like, oh, he has that, because the game loves to do that now, where it's like, oh, this guy, he's got potential there. Psych! We're actually just lying to you. And we're just kind of hoping that we could tap into that as it's still telling us that it is there. And then Cameron Flukie really hasn't turned into the player that we hoped he was going to turn into. Luckily, we do have him on this very, very team-friendly deal, but it is still like a long-term deal, and we would like to see him try to improve his control, as right now he has 40 out of 45 at the moment. And then we're also trying to improve Eli Willitz's bat speed, because right now he is just all glove, no bat whatsoever. And if we could possibly get some more power out of him, that would be fantastic to improve this dreadful, dreadful percentile rankings he's got on his page. And then there's Seaver King trying to tap into some plate discipline. He's got truly dreadful plate discipline. If we can just get him on base a bit more often, that would be fantastic. Use his speed on the base paths even more. And then there's going to be Ben Gardenhire trying to get some velocity bump on him. He's got that elite home run allowed movement profile. If we can get that velocity up a little bit, I know he has the low adaptability and work ethic, but we're still going for it. And then the final guy, just because why the fuck not? James Wood, he's got that power potential. In real life, he's just got special power. In this, only 60 with 65 potential. If we could maybe tap into that 65, maybe hit 30 home runs this season, 35 home runs maybe if you're dreaming, who knows? Figured it was worth a try because there wasn't really anybody else who I wanted to throw into the dev life anyways, so why not have the 12th guy be James Wood? We have now reached the point of the offseason where the awards have been given out. Over on the National League side of things, your MVP was Elly De La Cruz, who pretty much ran away with the award, and then behind him was his teammate in Noelvi Marte. Elly De La Cruz puts up an 8-win season, 8.5-win season here with the Reds, and then Noelvi Marte puts up a 7-win season. Pretty crazy left side of the infield they've got over there in Cincinnati. Out of all the players on our roster, we only had one guy get any MVP votes, and that was Brady House. Got 4 points here for the National League MVP race. Over the American League side of things, it was Aaron Judge, pretty much running away with it once again. Vlad Guerrero behind him, and then Jackson Holiday is your third-place man. Gunnar Henderson, do not look up his high school, is top 5. Aaron Judge put together a 4.9-win season, leading the league in home runs, ribbies, once again with 54 home runs. That is his second straight 50 home run season. He is now currently up to 549 career home runs. The National League Cy Young winner was the Los Angeles Dodgers' Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The runner-up was Paul Skeens and then Cade Horton of the Cubs. We had Luke Little get votes because, as we will see here on the reliever of the year, he was indeed the reliever of the year. So Luke Little gets that award for us. Nobody else got votes for that on our team. On the American League side of things, Shane McClanahan of the Tampa Bay Rays wins the American League Cy Young. Parker Messick actually ends up being runner-up with a 5-win season behind him for the Cleveland Guardians. And then third place was Taj Bradley, 2 different players that we were looking to trade for here at this deadline before we settled on George Kirby. Oh, and then also this Dave Santana guy, who was the guy who wanted that monster deal in free agency. Out of Cuba, 22 years old, puts together a 3.8-win season here for Cleveland through 25 starts, and was just fantastic. I mean, they've got him to a absolutely absurd contract. $40 million for the first season, goes all the way up to $59 million per year in his age 28 season in the final year of that contract. So not really sure how the Gardos are going to build around that at some point, but for now it looks like they're fine, I guess, and he was very good for them, along with Parker Messick, who was runner-up. The Rookie of the Year in the National League was Gerald Perez of the New York Mets, and then the runner-up was Angel Feliz. Perez had a 3.2-win season here with the Mets after he was the guy we looked at who was just in the minors for a ton, signed an actual major league contract for a good amount of money in the offseason, and then it paid off here with the Mets with a 3.2-win season, getting Rookie of the Year, and then behind him was Angel Feliz, who put up a 2.5-win season, and the bat really didn't start coming together towards the end of the season and in the postseason. We look at his splits here. Had a very, very good postseason for us, but the bat overall was not the greatest in the big leagues this year. It looked like July and August he did pretty well, but September was not. But then some postseason he really turned on, hit 5 home runs, drove in 7, scored 9 here for us this postseason. And then the American League's Rookie of the Year was not Dave Santana. He was the runner-up. It was a close vote, it looks like. And then Justin Gonzalez of the Houston Astros was your Rookie of the Year, the left fielder over in Houston. We also had ourselves a Silver Slugger this season as Harry Ford ends up winning that at the catcher position for us. he put together that 4-win season. He just continues to be very, very good for us. He is is it fair to say, the heart and soul of our team? I mean, he's been steady Eddie for us at that catcher position, and then put together a 4-win season here this year, and finally gets a Silver Slugger as his reward. And then, unfortunately, Brady House does not end up getting a third base Gold Glove, as that goes to Alec Boehm. He put together a 91st percentile fielding run value with a 10.1 ZR, where Brady House was not quite that. He had an 86th percentile fielding run value and a 6.4 ZR. So yeah, Alec Boehm definitely the better third baseman defensively this season, but Brady House definitely one of the best in baseball at the hot corner defensively. Alrighty, folks, we have reached the point in the offseason where we have done our international free agent class. Small class this season, but we got some decent little players here. First one being Zhu Zhao, a Taiwanese right-handed pitcher who's a big-time control guy, stamina, hold runners, sack bunt, can fill his position very well, work ethic, baseball IQ. We got him for $2.2 million. Moving on to the next player, which is an Australian teenager in Luke Korcha. Black and Decker is his nickname. Righty guy, outfielder, just really a left fielder, honestly. Can't really play first base either, so he's like a left fielder. But really good speed, 80 grade speed, 80 grade stealing ability, and then to go with that, the contact gap power profile that we all know I like. And all these guys are obviously being scattered. We picked him up for $2.2 million as well. Moving things on then to a catcher who's maybe a catcher, probably not, probably more of a DH first base type, but big time power here with the 80 grade power, 80 grade eye. Not so much gap power, but he has a decent amount of BABIP. Obviously, like the worst avoid K you can get, but I mean, possible 3 true outcomes sort of player if he develops to his full potential, obviously. Dave Flores here, I forgot to mention he's Dominican. Obviously, you can see that. We picked him up for $2.36 million. And then there was Tony Padilla, who is a big-time pop, 75 potential there. Probably not even a second baseman, probably just more of a first baseman, DH type again, but big-time pop for him. And he was the cheap guy we got, with $170,000, pretty much as cheap as you can go in these IFAs. I believe he was the absolute cheapest guy available, at least when it comes to guys who at least have 45 potential, which is the way that I sort them when looking at the IFAs. So, small class here, but 4 decent players, at least what I feel like could be decent players. Alrighty, folks, we have reached the beginning of the 2030 campaign, and it is time to go over everything that happened here in the offseason, which, spoiler alert, was not a lot. We'll start things off at the beginning of the offseason, and one of the first moves we made was we brought in a new manager and GM because both of our manager and GM were expiring contracts. We just decided not to bring them back. Our new manager is a man named Bart Miadic, something like that. He is hired entirely because he's got decent development mechanics and aging, and his personality meshes very well with our current staff. And also, even once he starts locking us out of stuff, I'm totally fine with a lot of the stuff that he has in his attributes. He is a sabermetric manager. Our values align. It's all good stuff. And also, our staff was feuding because Blake Butera hated the personalities of a lot of other guys on our staff. So, staff no longer feuding, which is a big deal, obviously. And then our new assistant GM is David Forst because, I don't know, he just has decently aligned strategy with me and whatnot. We also did end up trading Corbin Burns. It was pretty much just a salary dump. I just didn't really feel like we could operate with the amount of money that we had. Even if we don't end up signing anybody, which is pretty much what happened, I just felt like we needed to have enough player development and scouting to where we weren't like below the league baseline in those categories. So Corbin Burns, we sent him to the Seattle Mariners for the final year of his contract. We're not retaining any, but the D-backs and Athletics are retaining a bunch, so they're only paying him like $10 million. That's what we were getting off the books. Was Corbin Burns $10 million? It's like 10-ish. At the time we traded him, he was a 55. I don't really think he's pitched like a 55 in recent years, but he was a 55 when we traded him. The Mariners seemed interested in him, and they gave us a pitching prospect in Francisco Pazos, who has gotten a bump since we've traded for him. He was a 50 when I traded for him. He's gotten a bump over the offseason heading into free agency, so that's big time luck on our end here. Francisco Pazos signed as an international free agent in 2023, and now he's going to be starting the year for us in AAA Rochester, possibly being on the team at some point if he actually develops, which is always a big if in this game. And then we also just had a throw on. I noticed they had Jackson Willits on their AAA team, so I was just like, fuck it, why not bring the other Willits brother into the organization? He's a high leader, gonna play on our AAA team, do some leading down there of the boys. We also did end up bringing back Carlos Narvaez and Luke Little, both on one-year extensions through arbitration, so that's good. They're both back on the team. Narvaez is the backup catcher. Luke Little, coming off his Reliever of the Year award, will once again be a stopper for us. Moving on to the Rule 5 draft, we did end up trying to bring in two guys out of the Rule 5 in Gabe Davis from the White Sox, who you see here as a 45 as a starter. My thought process was maybe this would tick up as a reliever. He's one of these guys who weirdly ticks down as a reliever and just did not end up making the cut, so we've returned him to the White Sox. And then Trevor McDonald, same sort of thing. 45, I was like, he's got that 55 movement potential. Maybe his stuff ticks up when he moves to the bullpen. He does not. He ticks down to a 40, and even potential goes down to a 40. So he also did not make the team, going back to the Giants. And then we ended up losing Luis Perales in the Rule 5 draft, but I mean, we never really had any plans for this guy anyways. I mean, looking at his stuff, maybe I should have kept him around, but I mean, he just never did anything for us at the big league level. 2026, barely played, was not good. 2027 was here for a good amount of time. 92 innings was terrible. Then he went back down to Rochester in 2028. We ended up calling him back up for 44 and 2/3 innings. It was terrible once again. And then in 2029, he was okay-ish in AAA. We called him up, and then he was terrible in the big leagues once again. So, you look at his ratings, and you're like, oh, this guy should be pretty decent. But then the results just were never there for him. So now he's on the Colorado Rockies. And that is really all that we did over the offseason, so let's just hop right into going over what our big league team is going to look like here heading into 2030 opening day. The pitching staff, 1 to 5, it's going to be George Kirby, Tanner Houck, Cameron Flukie as a follower, then Connor Prelip, and then Travis Sikora is the 5 we're rocking with in the rotation. All right, so now the bullpen. Our two double-barrel stoppers are going to be Luke Little, once again in that role after coming off his Reliever of the Year award last season. And then Evan Hollick, our rookie, pitched 14 in the third innings, was fantastic in those innings, and then he was also really good in the postseason as well. I don't believe I'm able to look at that at this point. I am not. But he was really good in the postseason for us, as we remember from the run last year. And also, I kept saying he was from South Carolina. He's not from South Carolina. He's from Southern California. He's from that USC. But Evan Hollick going right into the stopper role, along with Luke Little for the double barrel action. And then Jose Rodriguez is going to be set up 6 or later, high leverage. And then it's just going to be a big group of Gregory Santos opening for Flukie. I thought about possibly doing opening for Sikora because he's not quite fully developed yet either, but figured why not just let him pitch, and then if he ends up needing a opener, then we'll have him open. That's why there's this space between these two guys. I didn't want to put them back to back, but Santos opening for Flukie just right off the bat. We brought in Taylor Rogers on a 1-year deal as a lefty to have in the bullpen, ground baller. Good against lefties, obviously, can hold his own against righties. And then we also brought in Louis Varland as a right-hander to add to the mix. Both these guys were 50s when I signed them, but unfortunately they've both dropped down. Varland, his movement went down a bit. And then Rogers, I mean, he's 39, and like his velo went down a ton. So, but still looking quite effective with the ratings. So Rogers and Varland are the new guys, and then Edwin Alcia, hopefully he does not get hurt for us this season, is going to be in our bullpen here. He did have 4 starts last year and was quite good in those 4 starts, but he's going to be in the bullpen to start the season for us at least. He may find himself in the rotation at some point later on, but for now is in a middle relief / stopper role along with Joey Estes, another former starter for us, who shifts to the bullpen in a middle relief / stopper role. Both of these guys lefty or righty, giving us like a double barrel secondary stopper. And then shifting over to the hitting side of things against righties and lefties are the exact same thing. A bit of a change this year as Seaver King actually had a bit of a downgrade over the offseason. So he no longer is obviously our best backup second baseman. It's actually going to be Ronnie Cruz, who is our backup second, third, and shortstop right now. We're also having Angel Feliz be like the backup shortstop with Cruz as the secondary backup, because Feliz is the better shortstop. But he is also our starting second baseman. So basically, there may be some games where Feliz plays short and Cruz plays second. And then we have Ryan Lasco as the fourth outfielder. We have Rosario up as the backup first baseman / pinch hitter sort of player, mainly because we just had an extra spot. And it could have been Seaver King, but Rosario has no options. So I was just like, why not keep him on the roster? See what he can do as a bench bat. Why not keep him around? So he's on the team. Narvaez's backup catcher, and then the lineup once again is Ford, Wood, Torkelson, Bellinger, House, Cruz, Willits, Feliz, and Sirota, similar to what it was in the postseason. Before we actually go over what the programs were, there wasn't really anything huge in the programs. Let's just go over some of the guys who are like making their way very close to the big leagues. Obviously, we have to start off with Jerry Harris here, who is most likely going to be in the big leagues at some point this season. He currently has no expectation. He's the number 36 prospect. We all know that he is just continuing to tear up the minor leagues. We're hoping he's going to tear up the minor leagues again this season and just kind of force our hand, really. But when we want to call him up, we want to just fully deploy him as like full-time DH, starting pitcher, full-on Ohtani. And then the other guy to keep an eye on at the AAA level is Alex Rouse. He is the number 31 prospect. We all know he's another guy that we're looking at. He was our 6th overall pick in 2027, and he pumps absolute gas and hasn't really had a great year in the minor leagues yet, but he's still developing. He's had some pluses over the offseason here to his stamina and his potential rating even. His velo went up in September even. So Alex Rouse, we're hoping that he can develop as well and force his way onto our roster at some point this season as well. We're looking for both him and Jerry Harris to be on the Nationals team at some point here in 2030. I should just mention we have Mason Bixby because he's gotten up to a 50 potential. You look at his scouting page, his potential control and his potential have gone up. His potential stuff went up towards the end of last season. It's just, he's just not filling in the stuff as fast as you would like, and he's also 25 at this point, so I'm starting to think that he's a guy who just kind of, they're lying to us with what he's truly actually going to be, but he's in AAA, maybe he ends up in the big leagues, who knows if he actually develops, but for now, he's in AAA. Like I mentioned, Seaver King had some downgrades this season, he's down to a 45, it just wasn't really a great hitter for us with the percentile rankings last year. He managed to get a league average WRC+, but, how he got there wasn't exactly the most repeatable thing, and a lot of his stuff went down this offseason. His current and potential gap, his potential contact, his rating at second base. He even had some minuses in July. Even last season went down a bunch. So Seaver King, not really looking that great anymore. Fortunately, that contract we signed them to is very, very team-friendly and very, very tradable. So if we do want to trade him at some point, we can. But for now, he's a guy who has 3 option years left, apparently, even though I just set him down. I don't really know how that works. I don't know why he hasn't removed an option, but he has options. He's only 26. He's about to be 27. So, for now, he's still useful to keep around. But one of the reasons why he's possibly starting to become a bit not needed, and with his regression at the same time as Ronnie Cruz having the season he had last year in AA and now being our backup infielder, Luis Hernandez here putting up the season he did between high A and AA last year, and now he's looking like this type of player. I mean, he could very well just come to the big leagues and be a really, really good player for us, but he's going to start in AAA here at 22, almost 23 years old. And he's another guy we're probably expecting to be on the team this year. You may be asking yourself, what is with this catcher here? Well, he had a development lab over the spring training where he was trying to learn a new position. And I was like, okay, he was already playing second base in spring training. So I was like, maybe he'll learn first base. He's 6'5". We'll just get the versatility there in his profile. And instead, he learns how to catch at least a little bit. Never to where I would deploy him as a catcher, but, now he has 40 blocking, 45 framing, 40 arm at the catcher position because, I don't know. We also have Luke Dickerson here. He's been in our organization from the start of the series. He was the second-round pick in real life in 2024 out of a New Jersey high school. He's an outfielder right now. He can play second base as well, but he's mainly just kind of like a left-right fielder sort of player. His potentials haven't really fully developed in. He doesn't have the greatest personality, but he's 24, almost 25. He's in AAA right now. He's got 50 potential. We're keeping an eye on him. He might be somebody we bring up at some point. Maybe he's somebody we trade at the deadline, but he's definitely somebody worth knowing about. And then, folks, guess who's back on a minor league deal? The Jaguar, Kevin Alcantara, after a short stint in the Yankees organization for, I guess it was just last year. Started off in even AA and AAA, then he went to the big leagues for a little bit, and he was like, okay, but he's in AAA for us once again on just a straight true. Oh no, he's at 1.2 million if he gets promoted. So it's a he can opt out, but these guys never opt out. He'll probably be in the AAA team for the whole season. I doubt he ends up to the big leagues, but he's an option for us. We also have Miguel Cime Jr., who is on the 40-man roster. We added him to the 40-man roster heading into last season because he was a high potential prospect. And then he basically immediately tore his UCL in spring training, missed the whole season. But now he's back, going to start the year in AA as a hard-throwing right-hander. We're hoping that he can develop for us and end up being on the big league team at some point for us, because he looks like he could be a really, really nasty stopper, especially with the 35 stamina. And then some other arms. We've got Ben Gardenhire in AA as a member of the starting rotation. Lefty out of Auburn. He was a 6th-round pick for us in 2028. High movement. Control is average, but really good stamina. Has had a couple really good seasons in the minor leagues here back-to-back. We're hoping he can keep developing and hopefully get his way up to the big leagues for us. Dax Hardcastle, another guy that we picked up in the 2026 draft. He was the 12th-round pick for us out of St. Mary's. Was it a high school or was that college? It was a high school. St. Mary's High School in Stockton, California. Shout out to the Diaz brothers. But Dax Hardcastle here is now up to almost 23 years old. He's got high stamina. He's got that high movement, decent control. Very similar profile to Gardenhire, but he's a righty, and he's also got high leader, adaptability, work ethic. Was really, really good in high A last year, as you can see. Dominated level, and now he's going to be in AA with Harrisburg for us this season. And then we are once again Yorkin it, folks. Josh Yorkin putting up a fantastic season at 20 years old in high A last year with Wilmington. The Blue Rocks, I believe is what their nickname is. 28 starts, a 6-win season. I mean, what else can you hope for? Going straight from 9 starts in rookie ball the previous year to this in high A ball. And he just dominates the level to the point where he is now a member of the AA rotation here as a 20-year-old, almost 21-year-old here in 2030. Another guy we are hoping can force his way to the big leagues for us, because he's somebody we would like to see with that high movement control and with the 80 stamina, 80 hold runners. I mean, this guy could be an absolute unicorn for us. Somebody that I would be like, hey man, we'll crank this shit up once you get to the big leagues. But for now, he's just out there doing his thing. Now on to some of the relievers that we took. Mike Fitzsimmons, 5th-round pick out of St. John's in last year's first-year player draft. He had a decent stint in AA in 25 innings. Will once again be starting the year in AA for us, and hoping he can develop for us as we, once again, looks like he could be a really good reliever. Bobby Matamoros, another guy we took in the 6th round of Coastal Carolina in last year's draft. He looks like he's absolutely insane, as he had a decent stint in high A, not the greatest, but he's a 45 potential right now, 45 overall, 65 potential, looking like he's going to be an insanely good player. Already has an A grade cutter, could possibly start in AA, but didn't want to go straight from high A to AAA rather, so we're putting him in AA. And seeing how he does. And then we've got our guy Matt Pilkington, who was our 1st-round pick. We decided to go with him over the Bat, who is from Brick, New Jersey. We went for the Seton Hall pitcher instead. And, of course, with our absolute horrible injury history, he comes in, tears his labrum right away, essentially. I mean, it wasn't his first start yet. He had 1 start. He went 2 2/3, tore his labrum in his first ever professional starts, because that's just our luck. But now he is once again in AA. I guess you could call it repeating the level after not even a full start. But Matt Pilkington, we're hoping that he's not totally cooked and is able to develop and possibly be a part of our rotation at some point here in the near future. How about some more pitchers here? We've got Josh Starcher. He is another guy we took in last year's draft in the 2nd round of Kent State. Once again, a guy who looks like he could be absolutely insane. Really good stamina with the 35. Good stopper potential for us. Slider cutter guy. He was really good in AA last year. Will once again be repeating the level, and hopefully he's a fast riser for us as well. And then just in case you didn't have enough of these guys, Brian Stone from last year's draft, 8th round out of Columbus State. He's almost 23, repeating, no, he was actually in high A last year, did really well in 15 innings. Now he's going to be in AA here for us in 2030. Ground ball pitcher, 35 stamina, high leader adaptability. Once again, looking forward to seeing what he can do for us. And then just a very quick run-through of the successful dev labs we had over the offseason. The first round of it, Jerry Harris slightly improved his BABIP. Evan Hollick slightly improved his control. Josh Starcher slightly improved his movement. Luis Hernandez improved his eye by 10, but it's not the in-game 10. It's, I don't know what it was, but his eye improved by 10. Right now, his in-game eye is 45 out of 50. Pretty sure that's the under-the-hood rating, even though the first year they had the dev lab in, it was not the under-the-hood rating. It was just the full-on in-game rating that told you that was improved. Why would they get rid of that? I don't know, but they did. Cameron Flukie did have a successful control program, but there were no noticeable changes for whatever reason. And then this is a big one. James Wood actually had a 15 improvement to his power, so he is currently sitting at a 70 power for us. This was I think it was a 60 out of 65 before the offseason. It was a 60, yeah, it was a 60 out of 65, and he is now up to a full 70 power. Very much looking forward to what James Wood can do for us in the batter's box this season, and I'm hoping for 35-plus home runs this year. I think that's totally fine. He hit 25 3 seasons in a row. I think 35-plus is a reasonable goal, with a plus 10 increase to his power potential, or his power just straight up. And then to the second set, this was the all base running and defense in spring training set of dev labs. Once again, I mentioned Luis Hernandez improved his catching, or he learned how to catch for whatever reason. Angel Feliz improved his base running slightly by 5. I mean, it's barely even noticeable. And then Eli Willits had an outstanding improvement to his bunting. His bunting is now a 30. It was a 25, I believe. It's not going to show it on this page, but I believe his bunting was a 20 or 25, and now it's a 30. So, woohoo! Oh, and Mike Sirota, unfortunately, we tried to improve his base stealing, and he had a poor outcome to where now his leg injury proneness is increases from somewhat normal to normal bordering on fragile, which is just not what we want. And then before we wrap things up here for this video, we will run through the preseason predictions, as the Yankees are predicted to be the top of the AL East division, with the Red Sox, Orioles, and Blue Jays all behind them with respectable records. The Central is projected to be all beating up on each other, as the White Sox, Tigers, Guardians, and Twins all around the same level. The A's projected to win the West Division. That is one thing I meant to do, is we're actually going to be moving the A's to Las Vegas. I think I'll do that right here before the season starts, but the A's are going to be in Las Vegas from now on. The Mariners and Rangers behind them. And then over in the National League, we are actually projected to win the East. Finally, getting some respect. 92-win prediction, with then the Mets and Braves behind us. The Cubs projected to win the Central, with the Reds and Brewers behind them. And then over in the West, it's the Dodgers with the Padres and D-backs, both with 80-plus wins behind them. Do we have any respect in the top hitters? When it comes to the top hitters, James Wood finally getting some respect. They're projecting 36 home runs. That's about what I was projecting as well, what I was hoping for. And then no respect for any of our pitchers.